There is a strange trap in technical work. If a system fails, everyone notices you. But build a system that works perfectly, and you become invisible. The machinery runs so smooth and silent, people forget who keeps the gears turning. Ryan spent 3 years as a systems integration specialist for a mid-sized tech company. He maintained a proprietary software platform used for every client pitch and internal meeting. He built it, he trained everyone on it, and the system never crashed. Because it never crashed, his daily labor was entirely invisible to his new manager, Derek. This visibility value matrix maps visibility against structural utility. Derek measured value by optical presence, speaking in meetings or playing golf. His ideal employee lands in the top left quadrant, highly visible, low output. Ryan, maintaining the infrastructure, lands in the bottom right, pure output, zero visibility. In modern corporate environments, a quiet employee who does their job flawlessly is consistently mistaken for someone the company can afford to lose. 2 days before the annual company offsite at a mountain resort, Derek called Ryan into his office for a 4-minute meeting. The retreat was heavily scheduled with executive presentations and a major new client pitch. Derek explained the invite list was carefully curated, and Ryan's name was not on it. Derek told him the trip was reserved for core contributors. He suggested Ryan use his time alone in the empty office to reflect on his future with the organization. Ryan looked at him and said, "That sounds fair." He walked straight back to his desk, put his coffee mug and a framed photo into his bag, and typed a 2-sentence resignation email to HR, ending with the words, "effective immediately." He unplugged his laptop, handed his security badge to a very confused IT manager, and walked out the door. Later that evening, the executive team arrived at their resort, completely unaware that the only person who knew how to operate their entire presentation infrastructure was at home ordering a pizza. By measuring human capital through superficial interactions, Derek had introduced a hidden structural instability that would surface the moment the system was tested. Day 1 of the retreat was entirely relationship-building activities and team dinners. Nobody noticed anything wrong. But Day 2 featured the new client pitch, with a live demo scheduled for 2 p.m. At exactly 1:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the pitch, Derek tried to log into the client presentation platform remotely. He couldn't get in. He called the IT manager back at the office. The manager explained that Ryan had resigned the previous day. Ryan was the sole administrator for the system, and his secure credentials were locked behind an authentication vault that only Ryan could open. The access had left the building when Ryan did. This timeline tracks the final minutes before the meeting. At 1:52 p.m., Derek calls Ryan. Ryan lets it ring out. At 1:54, Derek calls again and gets voicemail. At 1:58, 2 minutes before the pitch, Derek sends a text reading, "I need you to call me right now. We have a situation." Ryan read the message and set his phone down. When 2 p.m. hit, leadership was forced to deliver their live tech demo using printed PowerPoint slides. The client, expecting to see a working software platform, asked why the system isn't being shown. Derek blamed a minor technical issue. The client called that concerning, and the meeting ended without a contract. An organization built to reward visible leadership collapses the exact moment it loses its invisible technical foundation. Systems architects often talk about a single point of failure, a specific bottleneck where one fault stops the entire operation. It is easy to look at this disaster and blame Ryan for being irresponsible, or for concentrating every administrative credential within his own private access. But Ryan knew exactly how exposed they were. Over the previous year, he had officially warned management about the vulnerability in writing, twice. Both times, Derek rejected the requests to allocate time for documenting the back-end architecture. To a manager focused on visibility, documentation wasn't a priority. The failed pitch was the inevitable result of an incentive structure that prioritized optical presence over back-end stability. The system functioned exactly as Derek's management style dictated. By Thursday morning, the CEO intervened. He called Ryan directly at 8:14 a.m. to find out what happened, setting off a barrage of panicked phone calls and emails from the HR department over the next 48 hours. The company scrambled to put together an emergency compensation package. They offered Ryan a 40% salary increase, a new executive title as head of systems architecture, a guarantee of inclusion in all future retreats, and a formal letter of apology. Derek also sent a personal email containing a highly specific confession. He wrote, "I didn't understand what you did until I needed it and it wasn't there." Ryan spent the weekend looking at the offer, and then he declined it. He reasoned that it took Derek 8 months to form a negative opinion of him, and it took a total system collapse over 14 hours to reverse it. Throwing immense financial capital at a crisis cannot cure a management team's blindness to actual utility. A company that waits for things to break before valuing the person who keeps them running will inevitably make the exact same mistake again. Ryan had a new, more lucrative job within 3 weeks. Word of the incident spread, and his inbox was flooded with 40 messages from recruiters in a single week. The market had immense demand for his specialized, quiet competence. During his first week, his new manager asked him what his biggest professional strength was. Ryan gave a simple answer. He knew his exact market worth, especially when his previous leadership refused to measure it. Ryan demonstrated the ultimate form of workplace leverage. He removed his invisible labor and let gravity handle the rest of the collapse. It leaves you with a question to ask about your own career. Are you being measured by the actual structural weight you carry, or merely by the shadow you cast?